Have you ever noticed how the things you worry about the most often seem impossible to solve, until they suddenly solve themselves in ways you never could have planned? What if I told you that one simple decision, made in complete faith, brought someone exactly what they needed in just 6 hours? Without asking anyone for help, without chasing the money, and without forcing a single thing. This story is a perfect reminder that the law doesn't need complicated techniques, endless affirmations, or constant effort. Sometimes, all it takes is making a decision and refusing to entertain the problem any longer. Stay with me until the end, because this success story beautifully demonstrates why letting go is often the missing piece that so many people overlook. Welcome back to Real Life Manifestations, the channel where we share inspiring real-life manifestation success stories and timeless principles from Neville Goddard and the law of assumption to help you apply them in your own life. If you enjoy stories that remind you of what's truly possible, make sure you're subscribed and let's dive into today's incredible experience. Today's story comes from someone who wanted to show others just how simple the law really is. They explain that they wished more people truly understood how manifestation works because once you genuinely grasp it, life begins responding much faster than you ever imagined. We often overcomplicate the process. We think we need the perfect technique, the perfect affirmation, or hours of visualization. But according to this person, the secret wasn't found in doing more. It was found in making a decision, trusting it completely, and moving on with life. Without revealing too many personal details, they shared that they were currently dealing with a practical situation involving 2 cars. Both vehicles still needed to be transferred into their name before they could be sold. Selling them would allow them to purchase a new car, but before any of that could happen, there were legal steps that needed to be completed. They had to pay a notary along with the title transfer fees required to officially switch ownership. After checking everything, the total came to $272. Now, for many people, that might not seem like an overwhelming amount of money, but circumstances always matter. At that particular time, this person was already dealing with a difficult family situation that had placed financial pressure on them. Money had become tighter than usual, and even a few $100s suddenly felt like another obstacle standing in the way. For a brief moment, they admitted they felt stressed. It's the kind of stress most of us have experienced. Your mind immediately starts calculating. You begin wondering where the money will come from. You start looking at your bank account. You mentally rearrange bills, expenses, and responsibilities. Before long, you've created an entire story about lack. But something different happened. Instead of allowing those fearful thoughts to grow, they stopped themselves. They remembered the law. They remembered that circumstances don't have the final say. And they asked themselves something incredibly simple. Why was this becoming such a big deal? After all, we're only talking about around $300. People earn that amount of money every single hour. Businesses make far more than that before lunchtime. Why should this amount suddenly become an impossible mountain to climb? That single shift changed everything. Instead of identifying with the version of themselves who was worried and trying to figure everything out, they stepped into the identity of someone for whom this was already resolved. They didn't spend hours affirming. They didn't search for signs. They didn't desperately visualize stacks of cash. They simply made one calm, confident decision. They told themselves, "It's already figured out. The money will come to me without me doing anything." That was it. No desperation. No bargaining. No trying to manipulate reality. Just certainty. Interestingly, the timing makes this story even more remarkable. Earlier that very same day, around noon, they had called both the notary and the DMV to confirm the exact amount needed to complete the vehicle title transfers. That was the day they discovered the total cost. They now had the facts. They knew exactly how much was required. Instead of allowing that information to create anxiety, they used it as the moment to make a decision. Once they declared that the money was already taken care of, they refused to continue carrying the burden. This is where so many people accidentally interrupt their own manifestations. They make an assumption and then immediately begin checking whether it's working. They affirm abundance, and 5 minutes later they're worrying again. They declare that everything is done, then spend the rest of the day wondering how it's going to happen. This person did none of that. They simply lived their day. They went out for ice cream. They danced around in their kitchen. They even took a little nap. Think about that for a moment. Those are not the actions of someone desperately trying to solve a financial problem. Those are the actions of someone whose mind has already accepted that everything is taken care of. Neville Goddard often spoke about living from the end rather than thinking of the end. Living from the end means behaving naturally as the version of yourself who already knows everything has worked out. You're not pretending. You're not forcing yourself to act happy. You're simply no longer carrying the emotional weight of the problem because, in your mind, it no longer exists. Hours passed. Nothing appeared to happen. Life simply continued. Then, at exactly 6 o'clock that evening, the doorbell rang. On the other side of the door stood a neighbor who had recently moved away. She explained that she had been thinking about them because she knew the difficult family situation they had been going through. She handed over a card as a simple gesture of kindness and support. At first glance, it seemed like nothing more than a thoughtful note. But when they went back inside and opened the card, they froze. Inside was $500 in cash. Not $200. Not exactly $272. $500. Enough to comfortably cover every fee they needed to pay, with money left over. And here's what makes the story even more astonishing. Only 6 hours had passed since they made the decision that the money would arrive effortlessly. 6 hours. No chasing. No asking. No convincing. No forcing. The solution simply arrived at their front door. Can you imagine opening that card? Can you imagine realizing that the exact thing you decided was already taken care of had just materialized in a completely unexpected way? That's the beauty of the law. It doesn't always work through the channels your logical mind predicts. Most people become obsessed with the how. They think they need to know where the money will come from, who will call, which opportunity will appear, when exactly everything will happen. But the law has never required you to know any of those details. Your only responsibility is deciding what is true. Reality handles the rest. The person sharing this story said that this experience reminded them once again how incredibly simple the law really is. Faith, making a decision, handing it over. That's all there is. No endless struggle. No constant effort. Just trust. Even though they had experienced manifestations like this before, they admitted they were still amazed every single time life responded so perfectly. Each success filled them with gratitude. Each manifestation became another reminder that the universe, or in Neville's language, the deeper creative power within consciousness, always reflects the assumptions we consistently accept as true. This story also highlights something that many people miss. The manifestation wasn't just the money. The real manifestation happened the moment they stopped identifying with the problem. The money simply became the physical evidence of an internal shift that had already taken place. The external world caught up with the assumption they had accepted only hours earlier. If you're watching this today because you're worried about finances, bills, unexpected expenses, or wondering how something will work out, maybe this story found you at exactly the right moment. Perhaps your only job isn't figuring everything out. Perhaps your only job is making a decision that it's already resolved and allowing yourself to live from that certainty. You don't have to know how. You don't have to force anything into existence. You don't have to carry the burden every minute of every day. Sometimes the greatest act of faith is simply putting the problem down and living your life as though the answer is already on its way. Because as this incredible story proves, life has a remarkable way of delivering solutions through doors you never even knew existed. If this story inspired you or reminded you to trust the process, let it also remind you that your current circumstances are never the final chapter. The assumptions you consistently accept today become the reality you experience tomorrow. So choose them wisely, choose them confidently, and most importantly, choose them in your favor. If you enjoyed this real-life manifestation story, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to Real Life Manifestations, and turn on notifications so you never miss another inspiring success story. We share stories like these to remind you that the law is always working, often in ways far beyond what the logical mind can imagine. And if you have your own incredible manifestation success story, we'd love to hear it. You can submit it through the link in the description. It might even be featured in a future video and inspire thousands of people around the world. Until next time, remember, the moment you stop trying to force reality and start trusting your assumption, reality begins rearranging itself to match it. Keep believing, keep assuming the best, and we'll see you in the next video.